Cut it off, Lewis, guys. It's Irish here, and today I want to talk about my boy, Bryan. Shucky ducky, quack quack, top of my fave five. Daniel Bryan, as we all know, became World Heavyweight Champion a few weeks ago at TLC. Now, over the past few weeks, we have seen a huge character change in Daniel Bryan, whereas he has become kind of a face heel, if you know what I mean. Like he's acting like a heel and he's doing the things a heel does, but when he speaks on the mic, he's completely acting like a face. Like he's saying, "Oh, yeah, we should totally have a rematch and all this and yeah, all that crap." But then he's making himself get away with disqualifications and everything. So it's quite clear that WWE are going for something here with Bryan. But to be quite honest, this whole commentary is about the fact that I think he is a little bit overrated, as you may see by the title. And I'm not going to hate on Daniel Bryan. I like Daniel Bryan, I really do. He's an amazing wrestler, especially in terms of wrestling ability. I mean, hardly anyone comes closer to him. And not many people are up in WWE with his actual skill of wrestling itself. But when it comes to on the mic and in terms of having an actual gimmick, I think Daniel Bryan's quite a bit overrated, because he's not overrated at all in terms of wrestling ability, but gimmick, he has none. First of all, he has no gimmick, and anyone that thinks he does, you really don't know what a gimmick is. A gimmick is a personality of a wrestler, like The Undertaker, his whole dead man thing, that is a gimmick. Kane's big red monster thing, that is a gimmick. Triple H, the Cerebral Assassin, the Game, that is a gimmick. Randy Orton, the Viper, that is a gimmick. CM Punk, best in the world, that is a gimmick. But Daniel Bryan, he does not have one. He's just a regular guy, regular ring attire, nothing special about him other than his wrestling ability. And so I think they rushed giving him the title a little bit. And I wanted, as much as anyone else in the internet wrestling community, to see Daniel Bryan be world champion, but not this soon. Okay, he really is not ready for it, because they haven't really established his character yet, and I feel like they needed to work on his character a little bit more before they had just handed him the title the way they did. It's a shame that Mark Henry got injured, otherwise he never would have had the title, and to be honest, I think that would have probably been a better choice and a better option, not just for his career but also for WWE and for the World Heavyweight Championship, because Mark Henry has been one of the most entertaining world champions in a long time, and he did an amazing job, but unfortunately, you know, he got injured, so what are you going to do? But Mark Henry's been still wrestling under his injury. That just shows how dedicated Mark Henry has been, and to be honest, he didn't deserve to have the world title taken away from him by Daniel Bryan. I know that technically Daniel Bryan didn't take it away from him, blah blah blah, say what you want, Big Show won and then he cashed in, but the main theme of the entire TLC pay-per-view was for Daniel Bryan to take it at the end of the night. So basically Daniel Bryan took it from Mark Henry as far as WWE Creative is concerned. And I really don't know where they're going with Daniel Bryan's gimmick at the moment, but I'm not liking it so far. I like the whole him with AJ type thing, but I'm not really sure. It's too confusing. He needs to just choose, be a face or be a heel right now. Quite honestly, I'd love to see him stay face for right now until after WrestleMania. For the start of the new year, I think he should become a heel, and so should John Cena. Daniel Bryan and John Cena are the two guys who we all want to see go heel, big time. And as far as seeing heels go face, I'd love to see The Miz go face, and to see... God, I can't even think of another heel that I'd like to see go face. Leave in the comments which heel at the moment would you like to see go face. Personally, I'd like to see Miz, because I think he'd be an amazing face. But yeah, anyway, Daniel Bryan, I think he's very overrated at the moment, and that he always has been by the internet wrestling community. I mean, even when he came into NXT season 1, he was winning every poll on WWE.com simply because the IWC were going on and voting for him. Even no matter how bad he performed, they just kept giving it to him. I don't know why, but you know, whatever. I know that he's like an indie star and a Ring of Honor veteran and everything, but that's no excuse. I mean, just because someone is good at wrestling doesn't mean they have the it factor. Okay, there's plenty of amazing wrestlers, but they can't get anywhere, even with a gimmick. Because the fact is, as much as many people don't like to admit it, entertainment value is what makes you a star in WWE. And that's evident with a lot of guys. It's very, very evident with John Cena anyway. John Cena, as much as people might say, oh, John Cena's boring, let's be honest, he's not. He can keep my attention a lot more than someone like Daniel Bryan. And yet John Cena is pretty terrible at wrestling, let's be honest. He's very, very bad at wrestling. And yet he's so entertaining, and look at how successful he is. Because entertainment is much more valuable in the company than wrestling ability. Because I don't know if anybody else does this, but I'm more inclined to look at the storylines rather than actually watch the wrestling. I only like wrestling matches at pay-per-views mainly. I usually fast forward through most of the main events and stuff like that on Raw, because to be honest, they don't really interest me unless it's something special like a street fight or a Falls Count Anywhere or a WWE Championship match or something like that. Then I'll definitely watch it. But in terms of actual, I think they should be using Raw and SmackDown to build storylines. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I want this to be TNA at all. Definitely not TNA. TNA with their whole Wrestling Matters thing, even though all they do is storyline, backstage segments. But they're quite pointless about it. I like the way WWE does backstage segments when it's called upon, but they don't do it like for no reason. And I very much like that about WWE. But they do too much wrestling in a lot of ways, because I feel like they should be doing more entertainment value and getting storylines building before they move on to actually doing in-ring wrestling when they're at pay-per-views. I think people should be paying for the wrestling, and they should be able to see the entertainment for free. And obviously you want matches on Raw, of course, but you want to be building storylines a lot more than actually doing wrestling matches for no reason. I mean, the squash matches that they put in nowadays are quite ridiculous. I mean, they have someone like Wade Barrett face a guy like Yoshitatsu or something. Why would you do that? That's a simple squash for Wade Barrett beating Yoshitatsu. Why would you even bother putting that match in when you could be building a nice little storyline for the pay-per-view coming up? So that's mainly my opinion on that. I really don't see where WWE gets that whole logic from, but it appears to work for them. But yeah, the whole topic of this entire thing is Daniel Bryan. He needs to work on his promos. He needs to get a good gimmick, and I can see WWE are trying their best right now to give Daniel Bryan something, but they just need to go for it. Otherwise, Daniel Bryan, I'm worried that he's just gonna fizzle out, and this whole wanting him to be world champion is just going to fizzle out, and he'll end up being nothing, which I don't want to happen, because Daniel Bryan truly is a rare talent, and they just can't waste him like that. They rushed him way far into the business, and I think they gave him the world title a little scarcely, but unfortunately they had to after Mark Henry injured himself. So I don't know, I hope it all works out. I hope WWE are going somewhere with Daniel Bryan. As I said, this is not a rant on Daniel Bryan. I really do like this kid, he's amazing. But I just feel like he needs to have more entertainment value and more, a better gimmick, a better mic skills, rather than just his wrestling ability, as many people think gives him the right to be a world champion just because he's amazing at wrestling. And that's mainly my entire opinion on that. So leave in the comments, what do you guys think? This has been Irish. Peace!